All right, let's talk about a grape that you probably think you know, Zinfandel. It's a true California legend. But what's so fascinating is that for most of its time in the spotlight, it was hiding a massive secret identity.
So when I say Zinfandel, this is probably what pops into your head, right? A big, rich, full-bodied red wine. It's just bursting with jammy blackberry and cherry flavors, and it almost always has that classic kick of black pepper and spice. It's pretty much the perfect wine for a barbecue.
Or maybe you know its other face, white Zinfandel. I mean, this sweet, super easy drinking rosé was a phenomenon. It introduced millions of people to wine with its super refreshing strawberry and watermelon notes. We're talking two completely different personalities, all from the exact same grape.
So you've got these two famous versions from one single grape. But here is the real kicker. For pretty much its entire life in America, nobody, and I mean nobody, actually knew where Zinfandel came from. Its origin was a total blank. It was a genuine detective story that took more than 100 years to solve.
So how in the world did Zinfandel become such an American staple, all while being a grape with no past? Well, its journey here in the US is actually a huge part of what made the mystery so compelling.
I mean, check out its resume. It shows up from Europe sometime in the 1800s, and boom, it becomes the go-to drink for miners during the California Gold Rush. Why? Because it was tough, it grew like crazy, and it made a hearty wine. Then you fast forward to the 1970s, and this happy accident creates white Zinfandel, making it a household name overnight. And now, today, it's having this incredible comeback, with winemakers making these world-class red wines from amazing old vines. It's the classic American success story, just with a giant question mark at the very beginning.
So how did they finally crack the case? You know, for decades, the grape's European passport was basically missing. But then, in the 1990s, DNA analysis came along and gave researchers the exact tools they needed to finally trace its roots.
The first really big break in the case came when scientists noticed that Zinfandel looked, grew, and tasted almost exactly like a grape from Puglia, way down in the heel of Italy's boot. And that Italian grape's name was Primitivo.
For years, people kind of suspected they were related, and then in the 90s, DNA testing proved it. The results were just undeniable. Zinfandel and Primitivo were genetically identical. The exact same grape, just with a different name and an ocean between them. So mystery solved, right? Well, not quite.
So this was huge. It connected Zinfandel to Italy. But the researchers had this nagging feeling that Primitivo wasn't the original parent either. It was probably also an immigrant to Italy. The trail wasn't cold yet. The hunt had to go on.
This final chapter of the investigation was led by the brilliant Dr. Carol Meredith and her team at UC Davis. And they spent years, literally years, collecting and testing these ancient vine samples from all over the Mediterranean. And then finally, the search led them to this one single, almost forgotten vine growing on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia.
And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. The DNA of this ancient Croatian grape called Crnjanakaštelanski. Let's try that together. Crnjanakaštelanski was a perfect match. This was it, the original parent, the true source of both Italy's Primitivo and California's Zinfandel. After 150 years, the mystery was finally solved.
So, with its true identity finally out in the open, let's take a look at how this Croatian immigrant, after a little stopover in Italy, went on to live two completely different and wildly successful lives here in America.
I mean, the contrast is just incredible. On one hand, you have the classic red Zin. It's bold, it's spicy, it's dry. And on the other hand, you have sweet, fruity white Zin. But here is the most fascinating twist of all. The massive commercial success of white Zin in the 70s and 80s, which some people kind of look down on, actually saved thousands of acres of historic Zinfandel vines from being torn out. And those are the same vines now being used to make the premium, high-end red Zinfandels that we all love today.
And that is why when you see old vine on a wine label, it's a really big deal. We're talking about survivor vines, some of them over 100 years old. Now, they don't produce a lot of grapes, but the ones they do, oh man, they are so concentrated and just packed with flavor. It's what gives these wines that amazing depth and character.
Okay, so you've got this incredible backstory in your head. How do you actually go out and navigate the world of Zinfandel today? Let's get practical. If you want to taste the truly great red Zinfandel, here's some of the benchmarks. You've got producers like Ridge and Turley. They're absolute legends for the wines they make from those historic old vines we were just talking about. And if you're looking at regions on a map, keep an eye out for Lodi. It calls itself the Zinfandel capital of the world, or the really powerful ripe styles you'll find coming out of Paso Robles.
And when it comes time to eat, red Zinfandel is so food-friendly it's not even funny. The basic rule is just don't be shy with the flavor. It is a slam-dunk match for pretty much anything off the grill, especially barbecue. But it's also versatile enough to be a total winner with rich pasta dishes, flavorful Mexican food, or even just a platter of sharp, aged cheeses.
You know, in the end, what makes Zinfandel so cool isn't just how it tastes, but its story. It's a world traveler of the secret past that took over a century to uncover. Its journey from an ancient Croatian vineyard to the glasses of gold rush miners and right into our glasses today, it just reminds us that a grape's identity isn't just about where it's from, but the incredible journey it has taken. It really makes you wonder, what other stories are hiding in the bottle you might open next?